Hello everyone, welcome back to MalStorm Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner. Today I'm going to be starting my playthrough of Bullet Heart, the puzzle shoot-em-up game from Level 99 Games. I hope you all enjoy the video. Alright, so this is Bullet Heart all set up, and so real quick, what we're going to be doing in this game is we have our character, who's going to be Esford for this game. We have a sheet right here that has an illustration of our character and a special ability, and then our 4 hit point slots. We have our sight right here, which is a grid where these little bullet tokens are going to be placed. These bullet tokens are going to be populating this sight board, filling up, and if ever a bullet reaches this bottom white row, then that bullet is going to damage us, and we're going to lose one of our 4 precious hit points. Our character also has the sheet over here, which tracks our action points. We have 7 to start with, and we're going to use these throughout our turn. Then we have 5 different special abilities over here that our character can spend action points to be able to use the abilities, and they'll allow us to do different things, mostly manipulating this sight board right here. And then our character also has a deck full of pattern cards, and we have 4 of these laid out here. These cards are going to tell us how our character is going to be able to remove bullets from our sight and deal damage to the boss, who is this character right here. And she also has a special ability down here and a deck full of pattern cards, and we're going to attempt to deal enough damage to her to remove these shield tokens. And as we do that, the boss is going to get more powerful, but if we can remove all 5 of the shield tokens without losing all of our hit points, we then win the game. So the round is broken up into several different phases. The first phase is going to be the action phase. This is the fun phase. In the action phase, we are going to be able to place bullets, use actions, use patterns, and use power-ups. Now, unfortunately, in this boss battle game mode that I'm showing you, there are actually no power-ups. But if we were playing some of the other game modes, such as a co-op boss battle or the free-for-all head-to-head game mode, then we would have power-ups, which would be put in these slots over here, and we could use those to gain some extra benefits as we play through. And these 3 actions we can do in any order, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through them, starting with placing bullets. So we have what's called our current, and this is a black bag that has a certain number of bullets. Now this number is going to change from round to round, but at the start of the game, it's going to always have 10 bullets in it. And when we place a bullet, we're going to reach in and grab a random bullet. This is a 3. And now we're going to place this bullet on our sight, which is this grid right here, and the way we place it is going to be determined by a couple of key elements on this bullet. So we're going to have our 5 different columns right here, and we're going to check the color of the bullet, and we're going to place it in that column corresponding to the bullet. So we have the pink column right here, and the pink bullet. So we know we're going to put it in the pink column, but now we can determine which row to put it in by checking the number. So this is a 3, which means we're going to put it 3 spaces down. So we're going to start in the pink column, and then we're going to move the bullet 3 spaces down. And so it's going to land right here in this 3rd row. Now, if there was already a bullet, say there's a red bullet right here, and we're going to take the pink bullet and move it 3 spaces down, we would skip over the red bullet. So we would go 1, skip this space, 2, and then 3, and it would land right here. So as we get more and more bullets on our sight, the bullets are going to be able to come closer and closer to us, and then eventually bullets will be able to land in this row down here. And if that happens, we're going to take that bullet and place it covering one of our hearts, and now we've lost one of our hit points. So that's not good. So that's how the place bullet action is going to work. And we have, like I said, a bag full of 10 bullets right now. And before we move on from the action phase, we must place all of the bullets in our bag. So for this first round, we are going to need to place 10 bullets in our sight before moving on to the next phase. And if we just went and did that, placing bullet after bullet after bullet, we would die very quickly. So that's what the 2 other actions we're going to be able to take are going to come into play. So now we're going to look at the use actions ability that we can do. And we have our 5 actions here, and we can spend our action points, and again we start at 7, and we're going to be able to use these actions. So each ability, other than the star ability, which I'll get into in a little bit, is going to have a action point cost. So this one costs 1, and these 3 all cost 2. We can spend that many action points by moving our little action point token down the number of spaces to use this ability. These top 2 are generally going to be available to all the characters, and then there's going to be several abilities that are going to be unique to each character. So each character in general is going to be able to spend 1 action point to move a bullet left, right, or down 1 space. So we could spend 1 action point to move this pink bullet to the left over here in this yellow column, or down one space. Now we can't actually move the bullet to the right one space because that would bring it off the board, and that is not allowed. So we can move it to this yellow column here, or just down one space. We also could spend 2 action points to draw a pattern card. So right now we have 4 pattern cards, and I'm going to get into what these do in just a second. But if we used a couple of them, or we want to just have more options, we could spend 2 action points to draw a pattern card out of our deck of 10 cards, and that would be added to our hand. Then we have this action right here, and again, these 2 actions are unique to Esper, and so we can spend 2 action points to move a bullet up one space. So it's pretty easy to move bullets left, right, or down one space, but moving them up is kind of costly. You have to spend 2 action points to move one bullet up one space. Our character also is able to spend 2 action points to move a bullet down any number of spaces. So we have a lot of control if we want to move bullets down in rows, but moving them from column to column or moving them up is a little bit more expensive. Then finally, we have this star action here. Now, some bullets, like this bullet right here, are just plain. Other bullets will have a star on them as well, and I'll show you one of those when they come up. And if we ever clear a bullet with a star on it, we can trigger all of our star actions. Now this character just has 1 star action, so it would just be this action right here, and this says that we gain 1 action point. So if we had used up some of our action points earlier in the round, and then cleared a star bullet, we would regain 1 action point. Now wait a minute, you must be wondering, what in the world is clearing bullets, and how do you do that? So each one of these pattern cards here shows us a, well, pattern. And if we fulfill this pattern, then we can clear some bullets. So if we look at this escape velocity pattern card, we see that there's a grid on this card, and it shows us, so we see that there's a grid on this card, and this shows us what position our bullets need to be in order to clear some bullets. So these 2 spaces with empty circles in them are spaces where bullets need to be. Now, because they're empty, they can be any bullet. There's no restrictions, but there has to be a bullet there. So we have a pink bullet right here. If we also had a bullet 3 spaces over in this red column, then we could fulfill this pattern card. Then we would be able to clear bullets from all the spaces that have these little explosion symbols. So if we have a bullet right here, and then 3 spaces over in this red column we had another bullet, we could then clear all of the bullets that are in between the 2. So if we were to do that, this card would then be placed in our discard pile, and then we'd be able to take any of the bullets that are within the 2 bullets that we used to fulfill the pattern, and then we could take those bullets and flip them face down, and then we'd be able to send those over to the boss's incoming section of the board, which is over here, and that would be applied to them later on in the round as damage. So these pattern cards are going to be very handy in both removing bullets from our sight and dealing damage to the enemy, which is going to be how we're going to win the game. Other patterns will require more specific bullets. For example, this supernova pattern requires a bullet of any color to be directly over a red bullet, and then we can clear all 3 of these spaces right there. So you can have patterns that require bullets of any type, bullets of specific colors, and then bullets of specific numbers. To fulfill a pattern, you must have bullets in all the required spaces, and some patterns even require you to have specific spaces that are empty. And so all of those are known as requirements, and those all must be fulfilled. Now, on the other hand, clearing bullets is not required. So even if one of these 3 spaces here that we are able to clear are empty, we could still fulfill this pattern card, but we need to have these 3 circles to be filled with bullets. So one thing real quick, each character is going to have some sort of special ability that's going to impact the way that they play the game. So generally, you are going to have a starting hand size of 3 pattern cards, but we can see here that Esther has a full power ability that says your hand size is 4. So that is why we have 4 cards in our hand as opposed to the normal 3. Each boss also has a special ability. So this ability says, face down bullets in your sight have no color, number, or star. So this boss is going to be able, so throughout the game, our bullets may be flipped over, and if that ever happens, we're not going to be able to count them as having any color, number, or star. So that's something we're going to watch out for. Now, each round, the boss is also going to have a pattern card, and this is going to be placed in the active pattern slot right here, and these are going to require us to have our bullets in a specific pattern at the end of the round, or else we'll have to do some bad ability. For this card says flip all red bullets in your sight face down. And again, our face down bullets have no color, number, or stars. So that could be detrimental to us if we're unable to fulfill this L-shaped pattern. So those are all the different actions real quick. So of course we want to be clearing bullets, and so to do that we're going to use these patterns, but unfortunately we don't actually have enough bullets to fulfill any of these patterns, even if we use all of our action points to maneuver them. So let's just go ahead and place a couple more bullets. This is a 4. And these numbers are going to all be 1 through 4. So 4s are pretty dangerous, but as you can see here, this bullet actually has a star on it. So if we were to clear this red bullet here, we'd be able to gain 1 action point. All right, so now let's just keep on placing bullets. And we have a 3 blue, okay. There we go. So now actually I could spend 2 action points to move this red bullet up 1 space, and then I'd be able to use this pattern and clear these 3 spaces. And now, but right now they'd only actually clear this blue bullet, so I'm not actually going to do that right now, but I could do that. So that's nice. We actually have a pattern that is going to be available to us pretty easily. All right, next bullet is going to be a yellow 1. All right. Red 2. Yellow 3. And a red 1. Now we have 3 red bullets in this red column. What that means is that a 4 bullet, and because it would go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces down, and would damage us because it'd be skipping over these 3 bullets right here. So when you get 3 bullets in a column, then you need to start getting a little bit worried because you would be able to be damaged. All right, so I have placed 7 bullets, which means there's 3 more bullets left in my current. All right, so I think I'm going to spend 1 action point and move this bullet over here to this other column, and then that would allow us, using this ability right here, which says you can move a bullet left, right, or down in space, and that means that this red column is no longer an immediate threat to us. So then I'm going to bring over this next bullet, and it's a blue star, and now this blue column is actually now the threat. But I only have 2 more bullets left in my bag. Oftentimes, as I play this game, I am tempted to mirror or flip one of these pattern cards, but that is strictly not allowed. You must use the pattern card in the exact way that is printed. So no rotating or flipping or mirroring or anything like that. You must use the patterns and have bullets in the exact spaces as shown on the card. So that is unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Let's look at the next one. It's a 2 blue. Now that we have 4 bullets in this column, a 3 or a 4 could damage us. So that's kind of a little bit scary, but we only have 1 bullet in our bag, so chances of us drawing something that would hurt us probably isn't too great, but of course those are famous last words. All right, so now we have 3 bullets in a row in this column right here. Then we could actually fulfill this pattern here, but that would clear nothing. So that's not a great idea. This pattern does look kind of attractive because we have 3 bullets in one column here, and then we have 2 red bullets in this column. And so if we just move these bullets around a little bit, we could fill this pattern right here and clear these 3 bullets, which would be kind of cool. So let's see how I would want to do that. I would probably want to move this red 4 up here and then this down here, which would cost us 3 action points. That is kind of expensive, but I think I am going to do that. So I'm going to spend 1 action point to move this bullet down here, and then 2 more action points to move this bullet up here. And then we can fulfill this pattern right here, because we have a red bullet here, and then a bullet of any color, which also happens to be red, above it, and then we can clear these 3 bullets. Alright, so now, these 2 have no stars, so these are just placed face down in the incoming there, and we're not going to have any extra special effects. This bullet does have a star, so we're going to be able to trigger our star ability, which allows us to gain 1 action point, and then we'll put this face down over here. So now we have dealt a total of 3 damage, and now this pattern card is going to be discarded, and my hand is going to refill at the end. So now we have 3 cards left in our hand. We're not going to immediately refill, although we could spend 2 action points to draw another pattern. But I think I'm just going to play my last bullet here, and it's a green 1. We actually could fulfill this pattern right here, because we have these 2 bullets, because we have 2 bullets across from each other. And so we could just move bullets into this area right here and clear all of those bullets. All right, so I think I am going to try to use this pattern card. So I'm going to spend 2 action points to move this bullet here and then here. And then I'm going to spend my last 2 action points to move this bullet down 2 spaces. And then I'm going to use this pattern card and clear these 2 bullets. And discard this card. So now I have placed all of my bullets from my bag, I have used all my action points, and I'm unable to trigger any pattern cards, so I'm going to end the action phase and move into the end phase. Now the end phase is significantly less interesting than the action phase, but this is when we are going to regain some of our resources, which is kind of fun. So first, we're going to take a power-up. Now, again, like I said earlier, we're not actually going to be using power-ups, so we're going to go ahead and skip this. Then we are going to draw up to hand size. So our hand size is usually 3, but for this character it is 4, so we're going to draw 2 cards. And if we had more than 4 cards, then we must discard down to our hand size. So you always start around with your hand size. Now we're going to actually skip this third step for now. You're going to do this later on in the round instead of doing it during the end phase, so I'll just skip that and get to that later. Now we're going to go to the cleanup phase. Now we're actually going to skip the first 2 steps of this phase because they're not going to apply to this game mode, because they're all going to have to do with intensity and power-ups, and again, we're not going to deal with that for now. Then the third step is going to put bullets from incoming into your current. Now, if the boss or another player cleared some bullets and dealt damage to you, you would then take those bullets from your incoming and put them into your current, and you'd face those as bullets next round. Luckily, we have no bullets in our incoming, so we can skip that. Finally, we're going to set our action points back to max. So we're down at 0, we're going to go all the way up to 7, and now we're going to have 7 action points to start the next round with, so that's great. Now we're going to go into the boss round. First, the boss activates the pattern effect. So we have this pattern right here, and now we're going to check our site to see if we can fulfill this anywhere in our site. So now we actually can't fill this pattern card. So now that we did not fulfill this pattern card, we are going to have to use its negative ability, which says flip all red bullets in your sight face down. So now this bullet with a 4 and a star on it no longer has any of those attributes. It is just a blank bullet. Next, the boss checks if shields are broken. So on the boss card, above each shield, it's going to have several different numbers, and each one of those numbers corresponds to a player count. And so the first one's going to be for 1 player, and then 2, and 3, and so on. And that is how many bullets you need to deal to the boss to break that shield. Now, for the boss, for 1 player, it's going to be 5 bullets all the way down. And as you can see, we have actually dealt 5 bullets to the boss. So now we are going to take those 5 bullets and return them to the white bag. And we are going to break the first shield, which means that we remove this token from the board. And now we're going to apply this special effect to ourselves. It says face down bullets hit you. So we have 1 face down bullet, and because of this ability, it's going to hit us. So it's going to be removed from the board and placed covering one of our shields. So now we only have 3 hit points left, and that's not very good because now we are 25% dead. So now we're going to draw intensity. Now, this works slightly different in the multiplayer free-for-all game mode, but I'm just going to explain how it works in the boss battle game mode because that's what we're playing. So now, during this step, we're going to check the number in the most recently destroyed shield, and we're going to draw that many bolts from the white bag and add it to our black bag. So, since we've broken this shield this round, this is the number we're going to check, and it's going to be 12. So now, we're going to take 12 bullets from the white bag and add them to the black bag. And as we break more shields, it's going to go up to 13, and then 15, before we end up winning the game with this last space. So, as the game goes on, we're going to need to be placing more and more bullets from our bag and having more and more stuff to deal with. So, let's go ahead and place all of these shields back onto this sheet and remove this shield because now that is destroyed. So now the enemy has 4 shields left and I have 3 hit points left. Not looking very good. Then we are going to shuffle this white bag up and take 12 bullets from this bag and add it to our current, which is the black bag. So last round we had 10 bullets to deal with. Now we're going to have 12. And all of these bullets that are in our sight from last round are going to stay there. So we're going to have actually 16 bullets to deal with because we already have these 4, and because these 4 are already going to start there. So things are starting to escalate, which isn't very good. Alright, so now we have our 12 bullets in here. So now the final step of the boss round is the boss is going to reveal a new pattern. So now it's going to be this conduct pattern, and we need to get 3 yellow bullets in a diagonal line. And again, we can't mirror this, so it has to be descending left to right. We can't have it descending right to left. And if we cannot do this, we have to flip all yellow bullets in your sight face down. So that is not going to be very good. Hopefully we are able to fulfill that. So now we're back into the action phase where the action happens. So now we can go ahead and start placing bullets using actions and using patterns. So let's go ahead and place a bullet here. This is a 2. It's there. And real quick, I just want to point out this pattern right here. These 2 spaces with the dashed lines, those are spaces that must be empty. To use this pattern, the 2 leftmost spaces in our site must be empty, and then we can clear these 3 spaces here. Let's draw another bullet, and it is a 3 green. Okay, so another one is going to be a 3 yellow. Alright, so now yellow is in the danger zone. Let's go ahead and pull another bullet, and it is a red bullet right there. So now let's actually try to use this pattern right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 action point to move this bullet right here, and then I'm going to use 2 action points to move this yellow bullet here and then here. And then these 2 spaces are empty, and then we can clear these 3 spaces here. So these 3 bullets are going to go to the enemy's incoming. Alrighty. Next, let's just continue pulling bullets. We have a 1 blue, a 2 yellow, a 1 blue, just gonna go there. Now we've naturally fulfilled this pattern right here because we have 3 blue bullets on a line. So, but unfortunately we aren't actually able, if we do it right now, these 2 spaces are empty, so we don't need to clear them. We could move this yellow bullet down 1 space and then move these pink and green bullets up 1 space, but again, we must remember that moving bullets up 1 space costs 2 energy, whereas moving bullets down costs 1, so that's kind of expensive right now. So right now I'm not sure if I want to do that. I think I'm just going to pull another bullet, even though it's dangerous. It's going to be 2, 1, 2. So now blue and yellow are both in the danger zone. So let's see what I want to do about that. Let's go ahead and just pull another bullet, see what happens. There we go. Bit of a risk, but it gets it paid off there. Weren't damage at all. I think I'm going to spend 2 action points to move this bullet here and then this bullet here. And then I am going to clear the bullets with this ability. And then we have 1 bullet with a star and then 1 blank bullet. So we're going to gain 1 action point back. Alright, and then now I could potentially, I'd like to be able to fulfill this pattern. Not entirely sure how I want to do it. We have a line of 2 here and a line of 2 here, but they are not in the correct positions. Ideally, I would have a bullet here and here. Then we could clear these 3 bullets here with this pattern, but that would be very costly to do. I'm going to place a bullet, and it is a pink 1. Okay. Then, do I want to place another bullet? There's 2 bullets left in my bag, and if one was a blue 4, then that could hurt us. So that's not really what we want to do. All right, let's just pull a bullet and see what happens. And it's a 4 per pink. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very close. All right. So now we have 1 bullet left. If it's a 4 of a pink or a blue, then we are damaged, which is not good. All right, let's go ahead and just see what happens. Take a risk. And it's a 2 of red. Okay, that paid off. All right, so now we have no more bullets in our bag. And now let's see if we can fulfill any more patterns. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do, and unfortunately it's not going to use my pattern to its full potential, but I'm going to spend 1 energy to move this green bullet down 1 space, and then I'm going to spend 2 energy to move this pink bullet down 1 and then to the left 1, and then I'm going to have 2 rows of 2, and then I'll be able to fill this pattern right here, and with these 2 bullets in a row right here, and then these 2 bullets in a row right here, and then I'll be able to clear these 3 spaces and remove these 2 bullets, and then discard this pattern, and now I have no bullets in my bag, and I am unable to fulfill this pattern, unfortunately, and I have no more action points. So that's going to end the round, and so now we're going to go through this again. I'm going to draw 3 cards up to my hand size. It'll be 4. All right, there we go. I'm going to gain all of my energy, and now I'm going to go straight to the boss phase. So she's going to activate her pattern effect. Again, I can't complete it, so I'm going to have to flip this bullet over. And then I'm going to deal 5 damage to her with 5 bullets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So take these 5 bullets, and I'm going to place them back into my bag, and I'm going to destroy this shield. And now, unfortunately, this face down bullet is going to hit me. So now I have 2 hit points left. Now the next shield will take 5 bullets for me to break, but I only have 2, which means that these bullets are not going to be used and they're actually going to be put back in the bag to no effect. Other than, of course, me removing them from my board. Now, if, on the other hand, if I had only cleared 4 bullets for the entire round, then those bullets would remain in your incoming, and I'd be able to use those next round. So you only have to discard your bullets to no effect if you have at least broken 1 shield. So if you break a shield and you have extra bullets, the extra bullets are discarded. But if you do not break any shields, then you do not have to discard the remaining shields, which is good. So now our new intensity level for this, so now the boss's new intensity level is going to be 13. So we're going to have to take 13 bullets from this bag and add them to our black bag. And then we're going to reveal the new boss pattern card. And it is a ascending diagonal line of 3 pink bullets. And as you may expect, if we cannot fulfill this, then we must flip all pink bullets in your sight face down. So now, that's what the boss is going to do. So now I think that's actually where I'm going to stop. I think we're at a pretty good spot. We've lost 2 hit points, but we've also dealt 2 damage to the boss. So right now, the ratio of 2 damage dealt to damage taken isn't very good because the boss has 3 more hit points and we have 2. If we keep up this ratio, we're going to die before the boss does. So we need to do at least one round where we either deal 2 damage to the boss while taking 1 damage, or a round where we take 0 damage. So either one of those will be good, but we need to do one of those in order to not be defeated. Hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope you found it interesting and enjoyed watching it. And if you did enjoy it, please hit that like button and subscribe to MalStorm Gaming if you want to see more content just like this. And until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Happy gaming.